Hi, I'm Hombre, your one and only man of world, and this is the Zelda Universe E3 podcast.
Hello, I'm Cody. I'm the editor of this podcast at the moment. You may know me from about 5 years of the podcast. I've been on it since the beginning. So, hello everyone. I'm now on video on youtube.com/Zelda Universe TV, where we have this podcast also in video format. This is for the people from the iTunes. Go over to the YouTubes. So, we also have Holly.
Hey, I'm a guest.
Who are you, Holly? Talk about
Uh,
yourself and your role with Zelda Universe so that people aren't like, wait, who's this
well,
CDI character?
I'm known as Gold on Zelda Universe. I used to be a moderator for about 5 years. I'm not active anymore, but I still know everyone there. Yay.
Alright, and we are here to talk about, obviously, E3. Cody and I did go this year, along with Jason, who's not here.
There were two Zelda games on display at the Nintendo booth. One was the Wind Waker High Definition for the Wii U system, and the other was The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, formerly known as A Link to the Past 2. But then they renamed it, I guess, but
Yeah.
not in Japan or something.
Yeah, I think it's still a Link to the Past 2 in Japan.
Or Triforce of the Gods 2 in Japan, because yeah, Japanese names, who knows? At least it's not Final Fantasy, where they're like, why don't we make Final Fantasy
13 free?
No, why don't we make Final Fantasy 4 or something, and turn it into 2 in America,
Yeah.
So at least we've got the same thing. They've named it different things. They're not going to give it a proper title, but whatever, Japan, you do what you want. So,
well, I'm just glad it's not called like, a a link to the new past or something. Just given
Don't give them any
Nintendo's
ideas.
given Nintendo's terrible naming habits recently.
oh, I mean, it would be funny if they called it like just Zelda 18 or something. Because Mario Kart 7, they just suddenly started numbers.
Yeah.
Like for the
And now
first
it's
time
Mario
ever,
Kart
they were
8.
like, "Oh, this is Mario Kart 7." So they're
And now
just
we
like,
have
It's kind of
Mario
like
Kart
Windows
8.
2.
yeah. So Zelda 18 or so, give or take, depending on where you fit Soul Calibur 2 into the Zelda timeline, and whether you count
whether
that
you
as
count
canon.
the CDI games.
And the Smash Bros games, and Tingle games.
Yeah.
Actually, there's like
So-
30. There's like 30 Zelda games if we're going to include all those.
All right.
But-
So whatever. Wind
Oh,
Waker.
that's is that
Yes,
Swedish?
Wind Waker.
Yeah, Wind Waker.
Wind Waker.
If I mean, some people have been complaining about the looks. And
Really?
when I say people,
I
I
mean,
Jason.
Have they not learned from the Wind Waker that
Well,
you shouldn't complain about the
so-
looks? I mean, this is literally a repeat of everyone.
Yeah.
Zelda,
Well,
more like Zelda.
No, I think now what's happened. This is funny because now they're complaining about. Wind Waker already looked timeless and awesome. They don't need to change it.
I think what I've heard was the main problem was the bloom lighting. Like, how there's
Yeah,
overly
okay, so
bright.
some people like complain about the bloom lighting, but Aonuma said that what they wanted to achieve with that was like they really wanted, you wanted to feel like the kind of the sunlight on the ocean, and they wanted it to feel like, they wanted a sense of depth.
Yeah.
And I think that has worked out. I mean, it feels a lot more like a 3D environment with the way that they've redone the visuals.
Yeah, it's
I like it.
basically
It's
just the Wind Waker with some new lighting or something. They could...
Yeah, and honestly, sometimes it's mostly when the sun's up. But like once you get to certain areas, like you had a boss fight in the demo, it was difficult to actually tell sometimes the difference from the Wind Waker. I mean, they could have put the original Wind Waker there, and it would probably take me a little bit to realize, wait, this is the original Wind Waker, not the HD version. But I mean, it looks great. It's it's nice. And also, I think they're looking to change a few things. Like they have the Tingle bottle now instead of the Tingle Tuner.
Yeah, the Tingle bottle. So yeah, instead of the Tingle Tuner, you're going to be able to pick up bottles like that are on the beach, and then and you
Yeah,
pick them up
write a
and you open
message.
them, and it's someone else's letter, and it says, "Why can't Metroid crawl?" Uh,
Yeah.
and then I mean, I'm not sure about it. It's fancy technology, but will it take you out of the
It's
game? Like,
no,
I
it's a
mean,
neat
especially
little
with the things
thing.
that people like to draw on the internet and put on the internet, like, y- you know.
Well, yeah, I
I mean, is this going to be Wind Waker Chat Roulette edition? You know,
maybe, maybe.
maybe.
I don't know if it's because like Miiverse is pretty well moderated. I think
Mm,
I haven't seen any Rule 34 stuff on Miiverse, so
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a cool idea, the whole Miiverse thing, but I'm not
hmm.
sure that allowing any random person to influence your game will always turn out for the best.
I, it's it's harmless, really. I mean, it's not
Right.
not like anyone interferes, like they
I
come
mean,
in and like take your
It's not
shield or
like
something.
Dark Souls or
it's
anything.
harmless until you get like a piece of paper that says "I know where you live" and it has a picture of your face with like a Nazi thing scrawled over it in blood.
Um, that's oddly specific.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah, whatever.
Yeah, or
Anti-online
whatever.
Cody.
What I was gonna say, it would be kind of interesting if they used like the Wii U tablet as the Tuner somehow,
That's
instead of
what everyone thought they would do, but then I
Yeah, I
think
mean
what they
that's the
wanted to
obvious
do,
one. Or 3DS.
yeah, what I think they want to do is just make it, so that you could play on the tablet itself, and then it became kind of impossible to have that feature and the Tingle Tuner as a second player. So, meh.
oh, that's a shame because
Yeah,
that was what I was looking forward to actually.
yeah. So like some of the Tingle side quest things. I mean, isn't there like a special part where you can only access with the Tingle Tuner, like a certain little grotto or something?
Yeah, there's a few little secrets of the Tingle Tuner.
Hmm. So I
So
guess they'll just have to get rid of those or something.
And
yeah,
you had to collect some Tingle related stuff, if I remember. It's been a while.
Yeah,
uh,
I think
yeah,
so.
yeah, but I'm sure they'll have something worked out for that.
Hmm.
So there
All
were
right.
some other changes as well made to the Wind Waker. Um,
Yeah?
Oh, I can say for one, I'm pretty sure this is a change because I started laughing when I saw this.
Yeah?
Um, what in the in the demo you had the Helmrock King as the boss, and when Link kind of starts sneaking into the room for the boss fight, his face is hilarious. Cody, please put up a picture. Thank you. Uh, I think that face is new.
all right, cool. I think
Yeah,
I'm too lazy to put up a picture, so instead
I'll
I'm
I'll give it.
showing
I'll
I'm
I'll
showing
give the
a cat.
I'll give the
Oh.
picture to you.
Cats are sort of like pictures. I mean, they're pretty much the same thing on the internet. So, yeah, there's some funny facial expressions and things. Hombre should have the footage because we did record some at E3.
Hmm.
Um, so there's also some response to the fans, um, and some of the major complaints of the Wind Waker in the form of a boost button while sailing.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Like the sail turns red, right?
Yeah, it works well. It's just you press the button and you go faster. It's nice.
Yes.
And I think that you will. I think they said you'll acquire this at. You won't have it from the get go. You'll acquire it at some point later. So probably um, after either Dragon
Well,
Roost or
you
the
don't even have a
Forest
sail
End.
in the beginning, so I mean, I'm not expecting to get it straight away, but
Right.
Maybe midway through the game,
Yeah,
Oh, you.
something like that. Maybe like yeah, after the first or second dungeon,
Yeah.
probably.
Yes, but it will be good. It's basically the main thing people complained about, apart from
Yeah.
how Tingle
Oh,
is a horrible person who charges you lots of money,
yeah.
and Triforce shards are annoying.
Hmm.
Those are the main complaints about. Oh, and Zelda more like Zelda, but we're not.
Let's not get
Okay.
into
Yeah.
that.
That's not good.
Whatever. But I was gonna say also, because that was an interesting little tidbit for those of you that don't know. I think what Aonuma said was the reason that they weren't sailing faster in the original Wind Waker was because the ocean builds as you go, sort of. So I mean, so that means like the, when you
If you
go into
went
the
too
overworld, the whole
fast,
overworld isn't there, right? Like, so as you go forward, the ocean,
starts loading basically.
yeah, basically. So if you were going too fast, you would go off the edge of the ocean, which is manifesting itself slower than you sail on the fast speed. But now with the Wii U, they can pretty much load the entire thing right off the bat.
Sounds good. It sounds coolio, as the kids say nowadays.
Yeah.
Hip and radical.
Speaking of radical, A Link Between Worlds, we tried that.
Yeah.
It was pretty. It played really well. If you watched the A Link to the Past 2 trailer analysis, as it was called, the name of
Yeah.
that video, I was pretty skeptical of that game for a couple of reasons. I will say though that it plays really well. It's pretty fast, the walking speed. It feels nice. Slashing your sword, also feels good. Um, it it's really smooth.
How does it play like? Does it play like the DS games or something different?
Um, I mean, kind of like the DS games, because I mean it is a 3D, rendered world.
Yeah.
So walking around. I mean, you don't have motion controls or anything, but walking around and slashing and stuff like that. It's similar to the DS games, I guess. But the slashing is more old school. It's just you can slash pretty fast, like in the Minish Cap,
Okay, that's cool.
and yeah, and also one of the new things that is really cool is that you don't have ammo anymore. You just have one kind of magic slash stamina meter.
Cool. I have tied up Link to my PlayStation thing that I got from the Sony booth that they gave me, and I'm waving it in front of the camera.
Okay.
I'm just updating the people who aren't watching this on youtube.com/Zelda Universe TV, where you can find all our Zelda news and information.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
I got that in pretty smoothly. I don't think anyone will notice that I'm advertising it.
No, I don't think
No.
so.
I think that was pretty flawless.
Very
I
slowly.
totally wasn't realizing that you're advertising it until you said it.
Yeah, I mean, who would know that I'm advertising youtube.com/Zelda Universe TV?
Not me.
Subscribe
Not
today.
me either. I bet I should.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could also say that the puzzles that they do with the painting thingy,
Yeah.
they're pretty good. I mean, the demo that was on E3, that's the same demo they've had before, and you can watch those on YouTube and kind of see what kind of puzzles they have. But some of them are pretty straightforward, but some of them are pretty tricky. You think you're gonna go one place with the painting thingy, but then it's like, no, can't go that way, and turns out, oh, I have to go the other way.
That sounds
Just
tricky.
keeping-
Going the other way is that I can't
Well,
go that
so
way.
the-
Which way should I go? Oh, the other way. What a
So
puzzle!
the thing is, Cody,
I mean,
the thing is that
is that like
you-
these block puzzles in like Skyward Sword, where there's a block and then there's
and
a
a-
switch
and
and
a
they're right next
switch,
to each
and
other
it's
and you
like-
have to push the
yeah.
block onto the switch? Like, what a puzzle!
I mean,
Wow.
okay, so the thing is, here's how the nature of those puzzles are. They're more old school in a way that they're not incredibly tricky, but you need to keep an eye out of where you're supposed to go. You need to be aware of the environment around you. And that's something that's really good because in a lot of recent Zelda games, you'll get into a room, it's like boom, yeah, here's a block, and over there's a switch somewhere, and there's a couple things in the way, and you got to figure it out. But here it's more like you look around the room and see, okay, where can I go? What kind of tools can I use to get there?
Yeah, because I have a problem with a lot of the puzzles in the Zelda series.
Yeah.
Like there's some cool stuff, like this, moving around mirrors and things to reflect light onto, certain areas and all this kind of stuff. But a lot of it's like, even in the original Legend of Zelda, it was like, okay, well there are like 30 blocks here. One of them you have to push and then a door will open.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really a puzzle, it's just sort of manual labor.
Just push until a door opens, basically.
Yeah, like, it's good if puzzles are puzzling. That's sort of what I would consider the defining feature
Of a puzzle.
of a puzzle
In a game.
Yeah.
In a game, like,
I mean, there's a nice kind of simplicity to the fact that you come into a room and you notice that, okay, I'm supposed to go there, but I can't, so I need to do something, and you go figure out what in the room you have to interact with to sort of get to where you want to go, versus, going into a room with like, 4 blocks and 4 switches, and you're like, okay, this is an obvious puzzle, right? And I think it's important to kind of find a middle ground, because if you have too much of one of them, it just kind of becomes monotonous, and oh, here's another room. What puzzle am I gonna solve now?
well, if they don't have a puzzle, just don't put a puzzle in there. Put an enemy or something in there, like.
But it's a Zelda game. They probably have their own quota of puzzles per dungeon.
The puzzle quota, yeah. I mean, if something's there just for the sake of it being there because people said Zelda's a puzzle game, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Anything that's there because that's how it was in the past,
Right.
and not because that helps that brings something to this dungeon or this game, that's an issue.
Yeah, and another thing that's also really important that you have to balance is with the kind of the style and the atmosphere of the dungeon, right? Because you have some dungeons like the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, which is very, it's a mansion, right? If the Forest Temple, like if every room was just a puzzle, it wouldn't have the same kind of atmosphere that it does. Now, really, when you go into the Forest Temple, it really feels like you're in an old, abandoned, creepy mansion. And sometimes you just have a corridor that just goes on, and there's like one wall master in there.
And the other good thing
need
about
to
that
be a
temple
puzzle.
was that it also had boss battles and a puzzle in the same kind of instance. With the Poe Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Poe Ghosts.
The Poe Ghosts.
Poe Sisters.
Did you know
Yeah.
that Gurusa's name in Japanese is Bardo?
Now I do.
I knew that too, because we got the chance to interview Eiji Aonuma, director of the Zelda series.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Yeah, well,
I'm
just
not
run
jealous
into him
or
on the
anything.
street, yeah.
No, but we we actually just randomly got an email, being like, "Hey, do you want to interview? Do you want to interview Eiji Aonuma?"
we were like, "Oh no, we're busy. We got lunch. We got lunch to do."
Yeah, exactly. We gotta check out this Xbox One thing.
Oh, can't wait to hear all about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
forget Zelda. We've got an Xbox. It has lots of features, such as being hated by the internet.
Yeah.
Possibly banning you from every single game that you own.
Banning you from every game that you own.
Yeah. So, yeah, but we actually we prepared for a long time, all the kind of questions we wanted to ask, and the interview is actually up right now on ZeldaUniverse.net. It should be pretty much on the front page, and it's a text interview.
And we asked the important questions, such as, when will the Legend of Groose be released? And where is Super Smash Brothers in the timeline? You know, the big questions.
The big questions, yeah.
The questions that weren't even answered in the Hyrule Historia.
Yeah.
So
the only important question that we failed to ask was about the CDI games, but next time.
Yeah, next time we'll figure out, you know, the CDI Zelda games, you know, when are they coming out for the Wii U? When are they being re-released in high definition?
Exactly, in HD.
So that, you know...
But...
yeah, we can
just
enjoy
saying, like,
them all.
I bet a lot of people wants to know, like, what was it like just sitting down with Aonuma and asking me things, and it was really fun. He is, you know, a really nice, you know, down to earth guy who is open with kind of, I guess, his feelings and thoughts on development. Because I think a lot of developers would be like, well, you know, we do what we can, and you know, to get the best game out there, and you know.
But he seemed really enthusiastic about talking about Zelda.
Oh, definitely, and it was kind of amazing that some questions we would ask him a question, right, and he would give a pretty lengthy answer, and then when the translator was done giving us the English version, he would just continue.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see that, you know, he doesn't just think, all right, I'm going to answer this question so we can move on to the next one. He actually thinks about what he's being asked, and if he has, you know, further things to say, he'll keep on talking, and I think that's one of the reasons that the interview went as, you know, as well as it did. So other than you know, the things we talked about, what was your, like, E3 highlights to just round off this cast? What was the things that you really think, oh, these are the things I'm taking with me from E3 this year?
Well, Chogo Conroy lifted me off the ground.
I mean, okay, can we just, like, I mean, because I know that, you know, things like the Aonuma interview are obvious things that, you know, I think we're going to remember for a long time, because it just, you know, it was this amazing opportunity that we didn't expect, and that, you know, we've only, like, been able to dream of, you know.
And
so
I'm
there
totally
are personal,
not jealous.
Yeah, so there are personal things like that, but just, like, overall things like, you know, the games that were showcased and demoed, or, you know, trailered.
Right. You know, the Xbox One.
Yes.
Okay,
Was that your highlight?
Aside from the wonderful Xbox, can I actually just say that the Xbox One controller with its, like, customizable rumble is awesome. Just giving, like, a little bit of credit to the Xbox
Okay,
One.
yeah,
The
they had a good
amazing.
controller, but otherwise we're just gonna keep making fun of it constantly.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I know I tried some Xbox stuff. It was okay, but I don't know. It seemed very focused on a particular demographic that I don't care that much about.
Right.
Like, you know, bang bang boom, kill the commies, boom, crash, smash. That's
Headshot.
sort of my summary of Microsoft's
360
like press
no-scope.
conference. Like, you know, I like a bit of variety, and I don't just want to buy a system just for Call of Duty, or
yeah, wasn't
you know,
it that, like,
even if I care about that dog, you know.
Yeah, the three exclusive titles they teased at the end.
Right. Yeah.
Were all shooters.
Yeah, we were having like a bit of a running thing throughout we were watching the Xbox One announcements, and you know, we were guessing what kind of game it was going to be in advance. We were like, okay, it's a shooter. Yeah, this one's going to be a shooter. Yeah, I was worried for a second because I said one would be a shooter, but it looked like it would be some sort of adventure.
Yeah,
thing, with like
he
he
was
had
only
a wood and he was going through the desert, and then he unveils his hood, and it's Master Chief. It's a shooter. Like,
Yay!
they just couldn't. They were like, "Oh, this game looks interesting. Why don't we make it a Halo game?"
Yeah.
Halo in the desert. No one's ever thought of that before.
Yeah.
Right,
All right.
yeah.
So, I'm actually gonna be serious for a minute, and say that aside from A Link to the Past 2, which I'm actually not really excited for, I mean, there are other games like Mario Kart that are obvious, games that I'm gonna get and I'm gonna love. Really excited for Battlefield 4, which I tried, which is amazing. If you're a shooter fan, talking about shooters, uh,
But does it have a
Battlefield
dog? Are
4
you
looks
gonna care about this
amazing.
dog?
There are no dogs.
I don't
You
think I'll
just
play
go
this
in
game
there.
then.
You go in and play. That's you don't care about dogs or people. You go in and shoot people and you have fun. That's Battlefield for you.
Right. Yeah.
I also
Speaking
love.
of dogs, but not the same kind of dogs. I'm really looking forward to Watch Dogs.
Oh yes.
I think I'm
Watch
going to care about
Dogs-
that dogs.
Yeah, Watch
I
Dogs is
liked
really
it
cool.
how it had shooting in it, but it also had a variety, And
Yeah,
that's what I
that
wanna
feels
see.
like more of a kind of adventure kind of game where you have means of obviously like means of violence, but it's
Yes.
not the primary thing. It's not a run and gun game, so to speak.
Yeah. So, all right. I think we're just gonna wrap this up soon.
Okay.
Yay.
Make sure if you're a strategy fan, check out Call of Duty 2 and Rome 2. I tried those games; they were awesome.
Call of Duty 2.
No, Company of Heroes 2.
Oh,
Did I say Call of Duty 2?
I think you did.
Yes, you did. You definitely did.
Jesus.
So, well, if you want to try Call of Duty 2, you can play it on the upcoming PS2 or Xbox 360.
Company
definitely
of
won't be
Heroes
seeing it
2.
on the
Company of Heroes
Wii
2.
U.
Check that game out.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And wasn't there another fun game like the Octopus game? It's kind of like a co-op,
Octodad?
but funnier. Octodad, yes.
Yeah.
That
Is that a reality TV show about someone with 8 kids?
you'd
No.
expect. You'd expect. It's about an octopus that wants to be a human being, and it controls kind of like co-op, and you walk around
Oh, yeah.
and you do human things.
Yeah,
I didn't
that was
try
actually
it,
my
but people
highlight
said it was
for
good.
E3 was Sony
Really?
releasing all that independent stuff onto their
Hmm.
console. I was like, it was mainly because I had to do an essay about independent media, so I'm like, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yay! Well, Sony helped you with your essay, so
Yeah, that was my
I guess they
highlight.
win. I guess they've won E3 2013.
You win if you help
but
me with my
in
my
all
work.
in all seriousness, they probably did. I think they.
Yeah,
Nintendo did okay. Microsoft crashed and burned. Sony,
Literally at times.
I'm looking forward to their new system.
Yeah, they actually did win
I'm-
me over to buy a
Yeah,
console.
I don't care about the PS4, but it seems that they did a really good job with launching the new console, and I think just beating just beating the crap out of Microsoft was basically all they had to do to win it, basically.
Yeah.
And it feels like Nintendo did their own thing, and it was good. Yeah, we got some really cool games, but like we said in the beginning, the main battle basically was between the
Right, because
PS4 and
Nintendo
the
just
Xbox
operates
One.
on a different. They're not fighting over the same people that the other two are.
Right.
And that's
So-
the joys of Nintendo.
Yeah, we will see you next time on Sony Universe,
Yeah.
where we'll talk about dogs. Do we care about them?
Or do we just want to play shooters like
Yeah,
Battlefield?
Yeah. Did you know that dogs became a popular animal after Bruce tamed the first wolf?
Oh, really? Is that going to be in the upcoming sequel to Legend of Groose?
Probably. It's
Probably.
gonna be a dog in that game that you're gonna care
Yeah,
about.
there's definitely
We'll find out next podcast, I guess.
yeah, and we'll see you next time. Cody out.
See ya.
Over and out.